Okie dokie. Oh, I'm like flipping off the freaking camera already. Oh my god. I use my middle finger to turn it on here, and then I'm like, ooh, hello. Okay, fuck you. Yep, that's a great way to start. Oh dear. Well, hello again. I'm in my favorite spot, which is in my little nest on the couch here. Literally nesting. Like I have fuzzy blanket, squishmallow. This is Bessem, Bessem, I believe. One of the Bigfoots. She's like a teal color with pink fur. Yes, she's hilariously smushed because my body just constantly leaning on her. And then same thing with the couch, how this is just like our spot day in and day out. So it's like sunk in a little bit in the where we always sit, our fat ass. So it's very cozy. And I just wanted to be comfortable while we chit chat here a little bit and talk about what we've been up to and some of the changes around here and what's been going on. Yeah. Well, we can talk about the light. I replaced some of the lights in here. I don't know that they have since the place was like built or the owner had like first moved in, but I didn't like how harsh some of the lights were. So going light bulb hunting was interesting. And I'm the kind of person where I have to like get more information and like prepare beforehand. So I was doing a lot of like Googling to try and figure out stuff about light bulbs, and then eventually just said like, fuck it, this isn't working for me. Took notes like on the light bulbs themselves though, like to hopefully get the right fit. And then I really wanted to get the warm amber lights. So we did get 2 of those. So I replaced one in like the little walkway stairwell here, and then I think the other one's in the bathroom. And then we got one of those fun, I think it's like Wi-Fi lights, which I don't really care about that, but the color changing capabilities I think is really cool for one of our bedroom lights. But the thing I noticed with that one, and I don't know if this is a thing or not, but all of the fixtures where the light bulb would be like upside down or facing down, the Wi-Fi bulb would not work in those. And so I don't know if it's because of that, like the way that it's facing, but it would only work and like connect in the upward facing one. So I don't know, just a little something. I was like, whatever, that's fine, this will work for me. we like having the warmer tones. Yeah, it's a lot more comfy and inviting and less harsh to our senses and anyone else, you know, who comes around. So that's nice. And then I finally took out my earrings from when my ears had been pierced, like, I don't know, maybe a year ago now, re-pierced from the time that I was a teenager, I think was the last time, and then they closed up. So we went to an actual tattoo shop last year and pierced them again. And then for the longest time, I just didn't take out the little stainless steel rings. So after we oh my gosh, I'm like, where to begin? So much has happened. We have been working in a hospital for the past week or so, and a few days ago I needed to step out of the room for a bit, and so I went down to the little gift shop there, and that was where I found these really cool, oh my god, can I grab them again? Help. These really cool, we took a little short of them, oh my god. I don't even know that I showed it right. Bedazzled pens. And then also these earrings we got there. In the gift shop, they sell a bunch of like local handmade, handcrafted items and stuff, small businesses. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. Right up my alley. And then the other thing, oh my god, wait a minute. I hope I'm not showing all of my boobs right now. The other thing, this one I haven't even showed yet. Look at, now where's the camera? Look at him. Look at the, oh my god, he's adorable on camera. Look at how chonk, how wide, how, oh, gorgeous. And he's got the little flower, it looks like a daisy or something on him. And he's this little fuzzy, soft material. And then he comes with this little card. It says, be happy. Oh my gosh, wait, I see this in the light. It says, oh shit, I can't read it. What the fuck does it say? Capybaras are sweet and calm, docile herbivores who are friends to all. Take a moment to relax and have fun, spend time with loved ones, and soak up some sun. Enjoy your life and remember to be happy. Even when times are tough, don't worry, be cappy. I know. I know. It's adorable is what it is. Don't say shit, bitch. We love it. We love Cappy, and we love the cute little quote card that came with it. Anyways, so yeah, I did that. Yeah, so we had gone away on a little work trip where we got to travel a few hours away a couple weeks ago, which had been in the making, like planned for a while, but I wasn't exactly sure how things were going to get all worked out and what was going to happen. And so we ended up working. I feel like the angle's all off, but I'm like, the light, what do I do? Yes, there we go. So I don't know, beach what? We ended up working like 33 hours over the weekend between like Friday afternoon to Sunday afternoon, which is only like 48 hours. So 33 out of 48 hours was a little insane. And that was on top of the like whole work week leading up to that, as well as like going into the next working week. So it was just like a lot, a lot of work for like 2 weeks straight. And then that following weekend, which would have been last weekend, I just like stayed home, I think, for the most part, just tried to like chill out at home and relax. I don't think I did much for like the first 2 days. I was just like lounging around in my pajamas, doing a little bit of bed rotting and just like not moving because my body was so exhausted. Yes, because our job does involve labor, like manual labor sometimes, and like heavy lifting, kind of in some ways, human bodies. It's just, we were exhausted, beach. Yeah, so we took a little bit of a break. And then this past week, we had to, surprise go work in the hospital for a bit, which has actually been pretty chill for us, because in different care settings, there's different rules that come with that. So it's actually been pretty chill for us for the most part, as far as like what I actually need to like be doing while I'm there. But still, it's been just like another, change, another go with the flow moment. Like, this is happening now. Pivot. And then, yeah, we had our little gift shop moment where we grabbed a few things when we had to step out for a little bit. Yeah. And then this weekend we ended up working again. What day even is it? Today's Sunday. Yeah, we had Friday off, but we had a few things we needed to do, so we were out anyways. And then yesterday and today, we ended up having to help out with work again too. And then we're going into another work week, so I'm like, yeah. I don't particularly like being that busy. We really got into a groove for a while with our schedule, like the consistency of it. Even though things are always changing, within the kind of work we do and like our specific work assignments, it's just like I enjoy having that routine and that consistency. It helps a lot of things. So I don't know, it just, it's gotten more hectic lately, a lot more busy, and I'm like, can we go back? No, it's just it's a part of this time of year, and some of our manifestations, I suppose you could say. It's just like, oh yeah, harvest season. What kind of seeds have we been planting all year round, leading up to this? And well, I don't particularly like being super busy. There are certain things that are just necessary steps in our human evolution and in our stuff that has to happen, I guess you could say. Yeah, but the real reason, or the main reason why I wanted to get on here to chat a little bit, was because how I was feeling earlier today. And we lit a few candles this evening. One of our white ones, which we use the most just for like general cleansing and meditation. And then we lit a pink one for Venus going into Libra, and our green one for the heart space, because today was one of those days where I woke up early this morning and, we have like frequent, what's the word? How do you say that? Frequent times, in the night when we will wake for, a variety of reasons. And it's always interesting too when you're in the middle of a dream, a lucid dream, and it's like a very like particular moment or something happening, and then you like wake up right out of that, and it's like the first thing on your mind. It's almost like you're still in the dream or that moment is still happening. And I don't know if it was this morning or the other morning, late night, middle of the night, when I had woken up from the one in particular, but I was literally like in my room, or one that like looked like my room, and I remember feeling like a presence with me or something. And then I had even like gotten down on the floor, and this was the part that was so weird to me, because I was like, it was almost like I like wasn't human, or was like almost like some sort of like feral animal, and I was like it also reminded me of like a wolf dog or something, where I was just like like there was like something either like in the room with me, or maybe it was myself, like when we talk about consciousness and like how our brain operates, especially when it comes to the dream space, it can, lead us down all kinds of rabbit holes. But it just was so funny to me how feral I was acting in my room in the dream. And then I woke up and I was like, still like on high alert, tense like that. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? Like I had turned on a little lamp in my room, and I think I like got some water and just was like, all right. But that was the other day. So we like woke up out of that. It was kind of like strange or whatever. We ended up going back to sleep, whatever, carried on. But then again this morning, we woke up, and I don't know if I remember that particular dream, but I remember how I felt first thing in the morning. And I wouldn't say that we consciously check in with ourselves and how we feel every single morning. I don't think that that's necessarily very realistic, depending on, what kind of lifestyle we lead and like different priorities and things. But from time to time, and like depending on how I feel intuitively led and like what's going on in my life, I will, do a little bit of checking in first thing in the morning, especially or particularly when I feel like something's a bit off or strange. And I was feeling like that today. Like I had this heaviness, tension, that's the word, in my chest, like around my heart space. It almost felt like anxiety, and it was like heavy, hot, almost like warm right in my chest, but almost like it was creeping up into my throat as well. And it was, I would say, sort of uncomfortable, but there was also kind of comfort to it. Like I am familiar with this feeling. I recognize it for what it is. But at the same time, I was like, why would I wake up feeling anxious today? Like, for what reason? I didn't particularly remember dreaming of anything that would have me feeling anxiety for any reason. And again, on a day-to-day basis, we don't typically wake up like that. It's just not the norm for us. So we recognized it as something a bit strange, odd, out of the norm. And we were, contemplating that and meditating on it a bit. And I would say, we do like a little bit of breath work. We try to calm ourselves all the way down, like regulate our own nervous system and make sure that like what we're feeling isn't necessarily like just simply coming from, something that we're missing within ourselves. I'm like, am I hydrated? Am I well fed? Have I like nourished my body? Have I spent too much time on screens recently? Not enough time outdoors? Like, do I need more oxygen in my brain and in my lungs? Do I need to just like sit aside and like spend some time in silence, like with myself checking in? Like we go through this list of things, right? And after all of that, I was like, okay, this isn't normal, and I'm going through what I would normally do to like make sure that like there isn't some sort of underlying reason or cause for feeling this way. And then at that point, we're like, okay, so if what I'm connecting with in my heart space and in my body doesn't feel like it's connecting in my mind and in my heart with anything that's necessarily going on in this very moment in time or in my reality, in my world, then what is it connected to? What am I connecting to at this time or in this moment that is causing this anxiety? And this is where it's interesting when we talk about meditation, right? Which for me is just simply a kind of like internal reflection on something, anything, observation, reflection, whether that be, on or within ourselves, meditation with ourselves, or with, different things in our environment, how we interact with that, whether that be our home, our work, our relationships. All of these things are very important to include when we meditate at different times, not necessarily every single day, right? But, at certain times and for a variety of reasons. So we started going through those then. I was like, first, it's ourself, right? Like most things that we're going to experience on a day-to-day basis are going to originate from ourselves for something that's going on with us. However, there are times when things aren't that clear, that black and white, and we don't necessarily have clear understanding or reason to believe or understand something to be of ourselves. And then we have to ask, what else could this be related to then, right? And when it comes to things like home, work, and relationships, then we'll look at areas that could be potentially causing or contributing to stress in our lives, right? Something that would be disturbing our natural rhythm and dysregulating our nervous system. Then, right, that would be the next thing to look at. And with our job, right, working in healthcare and like things kind of shifting and changing a lot, that is something that can certainly throw us off a bit and bring up some stress and anxiety if we're not careful. So we looked at that. And then home life, pretty good for us right now. There's not too much stressfulness there. And then other relationships outside of the home. Yeah, that one's always interesting because it's like, especially when navigating different circles of people. And I have recently, connected with some other people that I haven't like seen or talked to in a little bit. And so I was like, oh, could it be pertaining to this, thing that we talked about or this thing going on? And again, when we're talking about a ever-changing, constantly shifting world and energies and filled with people and just lots of life and energy everywhere, everything, like there's a lot that we could look at and a lot that we could pull on in trying to better understand ourselves and our situation. So, but again, and this isn't something we do on a daily basis, but every now and then we will like go through this a little bit. And we were doing that then later this evening after we got home and settled in for a bit and are waiting for our laundry to dry. Yeah. And with Venus being in Libra, there is a focus on love and relationships and themes of fairness and balance and equilibrium and justice within them. And again, as we talk about relationships, so much of what we experience begins within ourselves and then extends out from there. So, focusing on that, like current shift in energies, and then how I was feeling in my own heart space, connecting these two together, and like the ever-present anxiety, not only that began what seemed like overnight or like early this morning, but then persisted throughout the day today, even when I carried on with like normal tasks and like, our normal like routine, and utilizing the tools and resources that we have. I was just like, there's this anxiety just chilling with us today. And it's interesting, right? Because when we do things to block ourselves off or to try to stop ourselves or numb ourselves from feeling our emotions, any of them, including, the more like negatively associated ones, even though I don't necessarily think that any of our emotions are inherently negative. It's just a way that we associate ourselves to them and to understanding them, right? And most people do not particularly like or enjoy feeling anxiety. So we would think of it as something more negative, even though it is not. It just simply is another feeling. But there are, a lot of ways that we often unconsciously will stop ourselves from feeling those things, right? And this is something that I did myself for a long time. And, I found that in doing that, it found other ways to come forward in our life, right? Other expressions through our body and our lived experience. And when we experienced what some people call like a heart space opening or heart activation or whatever you want to call that, I really don't know. It just, like our heart opening in a new way, right? That it hadn't quite before. One of the things that we started looking at and learning through was experiencing our lived emotions in ways that we just hadn't for a very long time, if ever, right? And so that was something that we started looking at almost 2 years ago now, in the fall of 2023. When we began going through that particular awakening. There's just been a lot that has happened since then, but we've had, these last 2 years or so to practice a lot of things. And, it can be a bit overwhelming to think about, all that has happened within these past 2 years. But going back to, we're talking about the anxiety. My anxiety keeps on trying. What is that song? By Doechii. I say all this just to end with the anxiety didn't go away. It's still here. I still felt it into this evening after this entire day went by and we, committed to our regular practices and we're doing some of our meditation reflection and again, allowing ourselves to feel the things that came up. We still feel it with us. And such is life, right? Like the point and purpose of us feeling things, I would say, is never to be so quick to dismiss it. I would say usually there is more to it, perhaps, and at the same time, nothing to it at all, right? But anytime there is any sort of like lingering feelings with us, whatever that may be, but in this particular case, it would be anxiety. And we don't necessarily know exactly, like the source or the cause or why it's lingering and sticking around, then at that point, it's just a matter